Lorne Eliiot is just one of the treasures of, he makes me proud to also work at CBC Radio. So he's no stranger to the radio and to this stage. In fact, he's performed here before. And I'm pleased to say he has a Stephen Leacock connection too. Not only is his program called Madly Off in All Directions, which is a Leacock line, and this is the 60th anniversary of the death of Stephen Leacock. His father went to McGill, and guess who his professor was? I think that's just amazing. Lorne has played the barn before, as I said. He's been a poet laureate at the annual Curling Bonspiel for Literacy, which I invite you to come to in January. And I just think he's one of our greatest comedians, and one of the best explainers of who we are as Canadians and why we have lines that I remembered this afternoon while I was swimming in Lake Simcoe, like, "It'll warm up once you get in," the great Canadian lie. We're delighted he could be with us here at the barn tonight from Hudson, Quebec. Please welcome Lorne Eliiot.
Yeah, I went to the doctor. I had a bit of a health scare recently, actually. A year ago anyhow, I went to the doctor. He ran a battery test because I was feeling very logy, as they say down east, very lethargic, not interested in my work. So, as I say, I went to the doctor. He ran a battery test. The results came back, and it turns out I'm lazy. Well, I guess there's not much you can do about that then, right? Now he suggested I take some sort of an outdoor sport. So of course I immediately thought falconry. Like you would. But no, apparently he meant some sort of sport where we actually do some of the work. So I was looking for something low impact, and I was going up to the west coast anyhow, so I figured I'd try some of that salmon fishing. I'd never done anything like that. I live on a farm outside of Montreal, and as a kid, me and a buddy would go up to a culvert in the back of the farm, and he'd beat the stream with a rebar, and I'd stand over the culvert with a cement block and crush anything that came out. But it's not like really fishing or anything. I found too, salmon fishermen, well, you show up with a rebar and a cement block, they get right snooty on you, Okay, salmon fishing, you gotta have the right, the particular right, you got to have, a hand-tied fly with the correct wood duck feathers all in the right order to lure the wily salmon, and you gotta be wearing all the right camouflage to blend in with the foliage in that particular season, or the salmon. Apparently, the only thing a salmon can't see is a grizzly bear midstream, a blind spot for those megafauna. And there I am, I don't know how to get outfitted. Me and a buddy go there. We're out in Vancouver. We go to a place called the Mountain Equipment Co-op. I don't know if you're Mountaineers Equipment Co-op, the MEC. I think there's one in Toronto. It's a fine store. I think it was originally started as a cooperative for honest-to-God mountaineers. But I think it quickly became a place where people who sit in front of a computer screen all day and want to give you the impression that at any moment, they might leap up and go for a trek through the Himalayas. The reason I got this impression, and it's only my impression, is that, you see the one. The one out west is crazy. You go inside and there's camping gear and there's the climbing gear. There's even a climbing wall to try the climbing gear in. Anything you might want. But to get into the store itself, there's an automatic door. I think if you're going to try to attack, say, Mount Logan in January, at the very least you should be able to handle is a doorknob. That's neither here nor there. I tried to buy all stuff. I bought stuff like a Swiss Army knife that folds out into a log cabin. Or one of those knives, camping knives with a fork and a spoon in them. You got to eat like this. Pants that zip off to become shorts. 2 pairs of pants in one. Saw a lot of them around last year. I don't think you'll see a lot of them around this year because they're useless. Or to me anyhow. I've always had trouble with zippers. I'm downtown Vancouver. It's a bit hot, so I figured no problem. I got me shorts, so I unzip one leg. I go for the other leg, but it's jammed. So I try to put the first leg back on, but it's broken. So I'm walking around downtown Vancouver with one short leg, one long, like a proper tool. I gotta wear them back to front every second day so the tanning isn't too weird. I go to a bar, it says no shorts allowed, I gotta sidle in. All the stuff. I wanted to buy something to keep away the grizzly bears, the aforementioned grizzly bears, because they're problem bears in the country, in the wild here. They really are. And they pose an interesting quandary for environmentalists. You know, environmentalists like to think of grizzly bears as the last unfettered denizens of the hinterland, which is fine, but grizzly bears tend to think of environmentalists as lunch. And there's any number of ways to try to keep them away. The guy behind the counter of the Mountain Equipment Co-op was trying to sell me what he said were bear bells. I don't know if you're familiar with these little items. You hang them from your clothing. And he was saying the sound scares away grizzly bears. Yeah, tinkle, tinkle. I got my notes, that's all I'm saying. Don't know who invented these. Whoever did apparently had never heard of Pavlov. And you know, the first guy with these bells on who gets actually eaten by a grizzly bear, well, everybody else, they're less of a deterrent and more of an advertisement, aren't they? Come tinkling down the hiking trail, you're basically the ice cream truck. I was there with my good friend Kevin Blackmore, who you may know from Buddy, what's his name, the other fellows. You know Kevin, yeah, he's totally insane, but one of the great souls of the world. Me and him started out together in this nonsense in Newfoundland. We had a group called Free Beer, which we played the bars in Newfoundland. We weren't very good, but we always got a crowd. It was, fairly bitter crowd, but he salmon fished all his life. He comes from Gander. He used to salmon fish in the Gander River. He was showing me the way. We went up to near Bella Coola, west coast there, and he's showing me all the things and all the knots, and I'm all geared up with a vest with all the buttons and bristling with flies. And shows me a special knot. And he's fishing this one pool. He sends me down. Dusk is falling, I should explain. Sends me down to find my own pool. I walk down. I got to try out my new hip waiter, so I walk across the stream. Start walking back in the dusk. And getting a bit hot. So I take the vest off. And it's right behind me, and the flies get all tangled up amongst it. So I'm like this. When out of the dark, I hear something, and something comes out of the dark, hits my glasses, and boom. When you've been hooked by a salmon fly, the first instinct is for you to say, "Oh, hey Kevin, I've been hooked by a salmon fly," which is hard to say if you've been hooked by a salmon fly and left. It sort of comes out, plus you're screaming to impede the message somewhat. He couldn't have heard me anyhow because he was. Plus he was yelling, "Lord, for God's sakes, get back here, bring me that biggest fish I've ever caught." So what I'm saying is I can feel what I have a memory of what a salmon feels like who's being hooked. And it's a very odd sensation. I'll say that. You should be able to break the little 10-pound leader that keeps you from freedom. You should be able to just go, but you don't want to. You'd prefer to play them. Well, to make a long story short, it took them 40 minutes to land me. When you do, Lorne, try to eat my fish. But I've had a great year off from the Madly Off there. Off from the Madly Off. I've been doing some various different things such as that. I've been trying to run for Governor General. I must say that's not working out too well. Thank you. My subjects. But well, nothing wrong with what Adrienne Clarkson is doing. I think she's taking it a bit seriously. It's Canada. Relax. You got the gig. I think she is. Maybe just my impressions again. I don't know. Is it just me, or is she starting to do her hair like the Queen? See her there every morning in front of the mirror, comparing it to a dime. This is an old intro for a song I'm going to play for you. God, I feel so embarrassed to be playing guitar with so many great musicians around. As my father-in-law told me when I first played him a song, he said, well, at least my daughter never married a musician. I've been worried about Her Royal Highness. Last time I saw her sweep through in the Jubilee, their tour. Fine lady and everything like that, but I wouldn't want to be royalty. Not that anybody's asked, but just how many times a day does the poor lady have to listen to, for instance, God Save Our Gracious Queen now? It's a nice enough song, but 14, 15 times a day, it's got to wear, right? And, I saw her there. I saw her on the television there when she was doing her sweep through the country, 2 years ago now? And, some school kids were singing, and she was smiling. She was being gracious. I'll say that. She was smiling. But inside, you could see she was ready to snap. Inside was like, So I figured I'd write her a new one for her next sweep through. Yeah. Well, you better shape up. You better walk right. You can't speak the Queen's English, you better shut your mouth tight. You society ladies, you stand in line. I don't want you to bow and curtsy, I don't want to hear you whimper or whine. You better be on your best behavior when she's around, 'cause Betty Windsor's back in town. She's got a gold yacht, personal retinue. They don't want you to speak until you are spoken to. You better agree with anything she might say. And don't go into particularly some long Republican rant about how if she's the richest woman in the world, she don't pay taxes, eh? Yeah, well, you better not be messing around when everybody, Betty Windsor's. Yeah, Betty Windsor does not like it if she catch you fooling about. Well, she's got two vicious corgis who will rip your throat right out. And if you're still standing, and if it's trouble you still seek, well, you're gonna have to answer to her sidekick, Phil the Greek. All them other world figureheads, I have seen them come, seen them go. The Pope might draw a bigger crowd, but he ain't hauling in as much t-shirt dough. And she's still standing, she's the big cheese, the big wheel. She's a little old lady waving white gloves that covers a fist of steel. When you see her, I don't want to hear you fooling around. Last chance, 'cause Betty Windsor's back in town. Thank you very much. Nice to be back. Sheila, take it away.